We'll wait till you come back.
Okay, probably, no, here we go.
We'll call our meeting to order with pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll call Mr. Dave's here, Mr. Fritz is here, Mr. Wall is here, Paulson's here, Derek's here, Dave Eggert's here, Steve Guyver not present, Corey Zion and the mayor not present, Kevin Stevens here, Susan's here, the Reverend is not here, Warren's here, Jones here. Council minutes, is our motion to approve the September 14, 2023 Borough Council meeting minutes, or is there any corrections, clarifications, revisions? Can the minutes be approved as presented?
Motion to approve the minutes for Thursday, September 14th as presented.
Motion to move second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I abstain, wasn't here.
I was not here also.
No, so you abstain also. So can we approve minutes with only 3 votes? Does we have 4?
Yeah, you have to table it next month.
Do we motion to table that, or is it this fall?
It's just tabled next month.
Table off.
So you're tabling it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let the minutes show that there was no. Well, wait a second, there was voting, you don't have to pass it. We had enough people vote.
You can't take official action on it without a quorum present who's qualified to vote on it.
We did vote, we voted.
Right, but there wasn't a quorum present qualified to vote on it.
Are you sure, Councilman?
I don't think it's a valid vote.
I'm sure it's.
You're sure.
Just vote yes.
Yeah. Approval, yeah, I read them. Approval, payment of bills.
So it's being tabled.
Yeah, for a lack of qualified voters to pass. So expenditures as of October 11, 2023, out of the general fund, we're showing payables of $108,753.33. Sewer funds $77,527.24. Liquid fuels $3,139.88. And the approval and payment of bills be passed as presented.
Make a motion to pay the bills as presented.
Second. Motion been moved and seconded to pass the bill, payable, approval and payment of bills. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Approval of treasurer's report. What we'd like to do is have a motion to accept and file for audit the consolidated treasurer's report and Public Works Garage grant treasurer's report dated September 2023. And those general fund is $577,694.25. Reserve account $125,059.36. Fire tax fund $11,728.15. Sewer fund $151,655.23. Liquid fuels $257,682.44. And our Public Works Garage grant at $404,305.48, which is probably the max amount of interest we're allowed to get on
Oh, we
that.
already got the maximum interest the first month.
But I mean, it's never, that number's not ever gonna change anymore, correct?
Well, no, that, it keeps earning interest.
But we just have to give it back to them.
Yeah, it's the interest we owe back to the state now is $3,805.48.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been moved and seconded to accept the treasurer's report as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Public comment, gentlemen, you have the floor.
We're back. Phil Scaloni with Lower Elsa Sables and joined by President Matt Steriker, Assistant Chief Hunter Martin. We're going to table most of what we're discussing here to your actual agenda items, just in case there's any questions. We wanted to be present, especially for this very momentous occasion for us, for you.
Well, do you want to just cut to the chase and say how much you need?
Did you purchase a lottery ticket? That's the first question. No. Mainly we're here to address any questions that may still be lingering. We apologize. We sort of we weren't expecting this to be coming up during the last meeting. Otherwise, we would have addressed all those questions there.
Okay. The only questions that we had was I can get you the number for what our tax was gonna bring in, and we now know it's somewhere around 38,000.
Yeah,
We also, as a factor with the fire tax, take out the 911 fees. And we have a $1,000 charge added to the taxes, and then the annual. We have a formula where we pull out cost for the tax collector, a portion of the audit by percentage. So the question then becomes, once you guys have a chance to digest that number,
What does that 30 then reduce to?
not only what does it reduce to, which they all, the 911 fees are similar to,
So you would split the 911 between the fire and this,
no, they're individual.
all individual charges?
Then that's gonna reduce it down to somewhere 32, 33, and then what does 33 get? Because what we did was we floated it out there for a basic subscription, which is up to you to define what that means. And then what if that's full coverage, or if that gets us to here and people can then add it onto that coverage.
Or is this like, let's make a deal and when you take 33 for everything, for full coverage?
We don't know. We don't know.
it depends on which briefcase I mean.
We don't know what our final number is, because obviously that abstract is from August. We do not know what the results are of any of the hearings that have been going on with people asking to reduce.
So,
Before we answer that, 1 second, council, did you guys want to have a 2-tier system where we funded X amount and then people could, upgrade? Or do you want to just say, hey, we'll fund everything, this is coming out of your taxes, and they can still solicit for any type of fee they wanted?
So we would.
Is there more than one here?
So there's a whole bunch of questions, but okay, so we base our subscriptions based on the village that the municipalities are providing. So basically, the short answer is you're going to be based off pretty much what Lower Allis is currently awarded, which is up to 6 non-emergent incidents that aren't covered by their insurance. So things like lift assist, things like where retreat and don't transport and their insurance doesn't cover for it. We do run into those scenarios. The other scenario that applies to Lower Allis Township, if your insurance doesn't cover the claim because they don't justify you going by ambulance. Okay, so this is something that we run into with a lot of insurers where they say, no, you could have probably taken a private ride, gotten a taxi cab. Doesn't matter if there's one actually available. That's how the insurance companies classify. So what that does is instead of giving them a 100, them being hit with a $1,700 to $2,000 bill, okay, that reduces it down to the Medicare fee for service rate, okay, which is still lower than what we did, the cost of doing service, but we can't give away free service. There's a lot of problems with the OMB that. There's a lot of states that ban subscription practices altogether because they consider it an insurance policy under the state laws. Pennsylvania is not one of them, so that's why we have some wiggle room to do it. And it's been a common practice for quite some time. As far as the official provisions of it, I will make sure to get that over to your borough secretary, and then we'll make sure that the public is well aware. As far as what we currently do with Lower Allis Township, in addition to the tax funding that we do receive, we do also solicit for regular donations as well, because that goes towards our funding towards being able to replace equipment. The problem that we run into is that every time that, the cost of the ambulance is about $2,000 to $2,500 to operate every single day. When we're reliant exclusively on payer reimbursements that are considerably less than what the cost of actually doing services, that's why we run into this situation. So that, we could provide the service, but you're going to have equipment that's considerably older because we don't have that extra capital to be able to purchase the $30,000 monitor or the new stretcher or the new CPR device or whoever wants a device. without this. So what this does is it helps us to attract new talent, which is something that we've run into a lot of problems with, because as soon as, you know, we raise our payroll rates, that's when the other one, okay, well, I'll show you another dollar. And this tiny little pool of certified providers continues to dwindle. I mean, we've seen over close to half in the last 10 years that have not renewed their certification, because I can go to Rudders and make almost equivalent to what I'm doing here as chief, which is very sad. So I know I beat around the bush. Does that answer the questions and concerns that you have?
Only that I'm still, or do we want to have a tier system or not, is what did you guys discuss this last month or?
Well, I wasn't here, but
Okay.
my recollection when we first talked about this a couple months ago was we would be funding them at the household membership rate,
Right.
the basic rate. And
if the citizens chose to upgrade that, they could themselves or separate donation, is that what we're talking about then?
at this point, how many subscriptions do you have in Borough, you know?
I can get that figure for you.
Does it go down?
Sort of moving in it.
Yeah, it is
Well, I'm just trying to get a feel.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at here is that we provided a subscription for the residents. And if they wanna a la carte and add on to it, that's fine, but maybe this might in some way generate additional donations.
Yeah.
Already got the subscription, not to pay for that, so maybe, just maybe if it's falling.
And we've seen that in Laurel.
That's what I would-
We get a very good, turnaround from Lower Houses on people making donations. They're covered 100%, you know, but you can still.
They have a bigger heart than me, I guess.
So,
That's
and
what
we
I'm
do
saying.
that, we make that solicitation, we're very clear about the fact that, listen, we're not sending membership, you're covered, you just give us.
That's fine.
You will, what you have.
My concern with all of this was this is the first time we have provided a number about how much money that is. It, you know.
So what does that come out the household?
Whatever they're talking, we get a discount to the book.
I mean, give or take, we were calculating those numbers here. I mean, it's between $38 to $40.
I calculated about $40.
Yeah, that's where we.
Pretty reasonable to me.
Which are typical for a household membership. For
It's
full
what,
household,
60?
60.
Yeah.
And then 30, it's 30 for a single, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's.
Do you have any gumption to give us the 60 for the $40 rate?
That might be constituted enumeration. I got really. I refer to your solicitor on that matter.
Negotiate any way we want to, are we not? I could see where it might be considered unfair to set a precedent for others though.
Yeah.
So maybe that's inappropriate.
I mean, I have already gotten a lot of our documents over to the agency that publishes our subscription, and basically, since Amazon Smile went away, that little box that was there, you know, advertising Amazon Smile specifically has a blurb about St. Mark's residents in there. And as soon as I can get that open, I will forward that along to you.
So I think that we're essentially saying that we will do the full membership at the $40 per house, right?
Yes. That's.
Well, there's no other tier above that, is that correct? Or
Yeah, so basically,
Yeah.
the way we have, the way the tiered thing came along was when Mount Penn went with the quarter months, and we had something off the back of the run, being full month, so.
yeah,
You know, but with the half mil, we were able to do that versus that also.
Warren, Greg, and Mike, I'm just getting old. I didn't want to have like a 2-tier thing, you know, I either want it or don't want it, so that's why I was pushing to get the highest thing. You know, so we can tell our citizens, we bought you the full membership. You want to keep contributing, they certainly appreciate that, so. So,
And then the only other thing is that we would obviously have to look and again, imagine this would be the case, but we would have to compare after this year, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Versus
we understand.
going out and soliciting those memberships versus doing it this way, are we making out better?
Alex, quick question, the 32,000 figure that you gave, was that the first year?
Yeah, the first year,
So since Amazon
Because there's $1,000 fee to get this. For the first year.
The lower house.
After that, that goes away.
That thousand goes away, but then our.
We don't have to take that out of the.
I will say, take long and hard, because then the fires.
Well, we'll do whatever we want, yeah, yeah,
So we should do it.
well, okay.
All I'm saying is that when you start
I
not
understand.
doing the same,
Yeah.
and,
Well, you know, I can have that battle with the fire service too, you know.
and I understand, it is a consideration to make
It's,
because of. And really truly, the limit on the millage for EMS is a problem, because if, to go higher, you have to put it on the ballot, which costs you money, and people can vote it down.
so solicitor, if we even have a millage for EMS, so that we can also take funds out of general, correct? I mean, we do whatever we want,
Yes.
okay, no problem. Yeah, so we can max our millage, we don't, you know, I think that makes sense, not to get the millage into a referendum, and we can always look at other funds.
Yeah, it could be,
Like $1,000.
you stated that this you do to.
Yeah.
But that's my question now. That 32 is not including, that's including. the
That,
salary.
that,
So how does it,
that is a
After-
rough
after the
calculation.
first year, you take out of the account, that's not working out in there?
Because
Without the rough calculation, it's gonna be 3,000.
It's worked out.
no,
Okay.
because
So once you-
the cost for collection
Okay.
and audit
Only significant
is
difference.
always after, so you've got startup.
Yeah.
Big given going through that is the EMS charge from,
Should have told us instead of
it's, I think.
making
it's
a
around
contribution.
$30.
You thought by paying on absorbing on the lines and just not, you know, pour those numbers out of that.
But that's an internal discussion with, I'm trying to make sure, we try to give you enough at the first time, and it looks good, it's not nick $1,000 on them, so. But that's another discussion for another day.
Yeah, like I said at our last meeting, I mean, there is a lot of things down the pipe that are very, very favorable towards us, and I say speak to us as an industry. The problem is we need to make it to that finish line. When that.
But we're sort of counting on it if we start getting any money.
We do not operate like other agencies, okay? Even though the three of us are board members, the three of us are management, all three of us are part-time.
Yeah.
We do everything, I mean, I do things from home, most of the accounting I do at night, because that's pretty much the only time I work here, is at night. So, I mean, we don't have the overhead that a lot of other agencies start to develop. And something cataclysmic, so I'm going to use Kutztown as an example, had this huge administrative overhead. They lost all of their volume because they lost contracts that they were dealing with. And that's eventually what.
Because the price kept going up, the membership, the annual membership fee kept going up because of the high, one of the reasons was the high admin.
And I mean, they did not receive any kind of municipal support for the municipalities that they service, which was unfortunate for them, but,
So did you guys buy them out?
no. I did see one of their vehicles though on my commute down here, since I live actually in Kutztown. One of their vehicles with the Kutztown ambulance pulled off the side and it driving away somehow. So,
One thing you guys will hear about in the next couple of months from the center, Center for Excellence Local Government, you're going through, from the back funding the EMS right now and reaching out to all municipalities and saying, EMS needs you to do what you guys do. That basically that, EMS is in crisis in Pennsylvania across the state because of lack of funding from insurers, and it stinks because it's asking the local government to pick up on something that,
Should a higher level of
are dropping the ball under circumstances. So but that's coming out, you're gonna hear about that, but basically you guys are just ahead of the eight ball in doing what we're hoping all municipalities across the county are gonna do.
We attended a forum at Albright College back earlier this year.
Yeah.
And they gave a presentation on the county 911, and it was basically doom and gloom. And And you guys came in your presentation a few months ago, this should only be a requirement.
That's
To a certain degree.
There's a big argument about whether to have a fleet, your own police department or a state,
Yes, exactly.
you hear both things, and it's all about taxes and how to spend money and everything else.
There are states that do that, that
Yeah.
basically the insurance money offsets what does, you know, and helps pay the municipality back, but the municipality pay for ambulance coverage, just like they pay for a police
But
department.
like you said, Kutztown, they were providing service to communities that weren't making any contributions. That can't win.
And there's a lot of municipalities across the county that are still.
The only thing I can think maybe down the road is we may want to ask you guys to give us maybe some number of calls at certain addresses and things like that, because we have some non-revenue parcels in the borough that may be interesting to us. So whatever you need to redact out, you know, that would work for us, but I don't know if we're even allowed to do that.
I get the call log every month.
Okay,
Yeah, and yes, you would have gotten the quarterly report from me if it wasn't for the fact that I'm a little behind with things. So
it doesn't matter till like, you know, budget time or something like that, when we start really looking at it.
we'll get that. As soon as I complete it, it's a bit of a convoluted process that I have to do to get a.
And that's sort of just a balancing act internally on how we look at certain things.
I mean, council could always make a donation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And call it a donation.
Right.
You know, donating for your false gun fund, like for instance.
I think we know those three too.
Basically a garden park,
Yeah.
close apartments.
Yeah.
And a couple of them.
Yeah.
A couple of them. Yeah, those are the vast majority of them. There's not others, there's a lot, there's others.
Yeah.
Sure. You had a, you know, 5%.
Well, we certainly appreciate you guys coming in and finally convincing us, you know, to go this route. You know, we move slow, but hopefully we're down the right track.
We appreciate you hearing what we had to say and taking decisive action to help us in.
And the help you've given us in the past with the truck and, you know, the good job you guys made over the years, we definitely appreciate it.
Well, the core service, we can't do that. And given that presentation a few months ago, it was almost in the brain. You know, when you hear those statistics back in at Albright, and of course, your numbers. You know, somebody put the information, put it on them.
And we don't have to pay for a new bridge now, so we're playing with house money.
I'm happy to start sending the versions over because it's gonna help with our response.
Any other questions, council? Thanks again, we really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Any emails or anything coming in from our electronic audience, if any?
No online.
All right. Consultant report, Borough Engineer, you're on.
Well, it's 17807, so.
All right, nothing, solicitor, you're on. Good.
Continuing on with the EMS tax ordinance thing, we have the ordinance prepared, ready to advertise. I believe you authorized the advertisement last month, so you don't have to do that. We're gonna get it advertised for the December meeting. Has to be advertised 3 times. And Allison actually answered my question, the one question I have about the revenue that would be brought in by the tax of $38,000, so. Or probably.
Revenue minus expense.
Well, that's the revenue, the revenue is.
You're right.
Right now, we're working on the August update from the assessment office. We have not gotten any more abstracts since then. Right, so it's going to be approximately $38,000 in revenue expected, so that the one question I had was answered because that has to be in the advertisement. The only other item that I have, other than answering routine questions through the month, was authorizing a conditional use hearing at the November council meeting. But I believe the application is not in yet, but pending application. is
What
checked.
parcel is this?
It is actually for Scott Landis's property down.
Oh, for
Atlantic Creek.
For the bacon butter?
No, that they have fallen through. This is where Exeter Rental Depot was
Yeah.
for a gymnastic academy. And because it is a different use than has been there,
it falls under, having a conditional use hearing because that has not been addressed before.
So we need a motion to authorize the solicitor to advertise the conditional use hearing if the application comes in with the check by the 20th
Right,
for the November council, and it would be scheduled at 7:30
yeah.
for the conditional use, and then we'll have our meeting,
We always,
what,
we
we
bring,
should start our regular meeting at 7:30, conditional use will be at 7:31, because we will, pause our meeting. That way we don't have to re-advertise our meeting start.
yeah, we usually get
Well,
through.
you don't have to, pause it, you don't really have to, all you do is you start the meeting at 7:30.
30 and then have conditional use,
Advertise the conditional use for 7:30.
okay,
And then go back into the,
Regular meeting.
After the hearing and vote on the application, if we're going.
is there such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion been moved seconded to have a conditional use hearing if the applicant has the check and application in by the 20th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion passed. Lister, anything else?
Clarify one thing, though.
No.
In the minutes, I only have the motion as authorization to prepare the ordinance. There was nothing in there about how much.
Okay, so I just wanted to, make sure that
We're doing authorized advertising for December. Okay. It's 3 advertisements and
That's why I said all advertising.
Yeah.
Make a motion to advertise the EMS tax ordinance.
I second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Take care of it. Mayor, did she leave a report for us?
Yes, it's in your packet.
We had like 2 seconds here.
The well, key
And she went for the
attention.
police commission meeting to find out that they weren't having one.
Yeah.
So, that was about all.
And that's it.
Yeah. Woo. Next item, department staff, Borough zoning code enforcement officers report. Anything of, out of the ordinary,
No,
normal stuff?
There's some letters, certified letters that need to go out, and then at some point we need to discuss code enforcement in executive session, and that does not necessarily have to be.
Doesn't have to be tonight? Okay, then we will take that into consideration. Public safety, EMC, David Eggers.
If you've ever heard, FEMA did not declare a disaster for Berks County because it meet the threshold for damages.
What was that threshold of million? Like 30?
This is like 60?
23.
Like 23 million all told, because it was such a localized event to Berks County. We didn't, if it would have affected Berks and then
Another county.
Lehigh,
Yeah, then it would have been a better,
we would have had, a different threshold. The threshold, I think, stays the same, but now we've got damages from both counties counting toward it. However, the Small Business Administration is making low interest loans available to businesses and residents for any flood related damages. And they've opened a facility out at Albright College at the center, right, the same building, Rossner Hall, yes. Down there, 13th and Rockland Streets.
So we can continue to declare.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, well, we're gonna continue so we can, with the permit in the creek, so I would make a motion to approve the ongoing declaration of disaster emergency caused by the rain event on July 9th, 2023.
and it'll extend this declaration
30
until
days.
30 days. Is there a motion? You asked, is there a second? Motion been moved and seconded to approve the ongoing declaration of disaster emergency caused by the rain event on July 9th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes.
Please don't leave here until you sign it.
Let me circle back to the engineer. Are we permits like being applied for, or where are we at on that?
I'm waiting on council for the overall emergency fund.
Do you want to provide an update with the meeting that you had?
I'll say we'll go into the.
Yeah, we'll go into the roadmaster on the public works, go ahead.
Okay, this ties into the emergency permitting, so I'll start with that first. I contacted one of the contacts that Pam had forwarded us from her meeting involving armoring the creek, which was from the USDA. Apparently they're involved with screening restorations and rehabilitations for making sure that properties aren't swept into the creek. So they've come out, I sent them pictures of some of the stuff we did on the field with White Oak property behind Binghamton Street. And they found those to be of interest, so they came out and did a site visit, and they actually said that both of those properties, both of those areas qualify for the program. for creek armoring and restoration. Now, part of that may involve them fixing our storm outfall there right next to Whitehall's, picking up the abutment that fell and sticking it back in while armoring up Whitehall's property there. And involved with that, they would do a lot of stream permitting, emergency permits, get all the work done, and then remove some of the debris within that scope of work in those two areas.
So do we have to go apply, or is Michael applying for his parcel itself?
So how it works is the USDA, right now, the ball's in their course. They came out, did all the measurements, did all the pictures. How it works, they file everything to a sponsor. And the way of working for the county is the conservation district or Berks County is gonna be the sponsor for these areas.
Dean Druckenmiller.
So that doesn't be.
Yeah.
So once a sponsor is given all the information, they file for all the permits. USDA picks up 75% of the tab, and then the sponsor is usually responsible for 25% of the tab. What USDA said is 99% of the time DEP steps in and provides the other 25%. So the entire process is 100%.
For next month, can you give us an update? Go ahead and contact conservation district and just to see if the USDA has given them the stuff yet or given the heads up, or if not, you're gonna have to give them a heads up and then see what they have to do in order to get it from the state.
Yeah,
if possible.
I was looking to hear back. So the meeting was last week. Within 2 weeks, USDA will reach back out to me.
So we'll have a status report next.
Yeah.
Great, good job.
In addition to the report. USDA. Oh, Parkview Road Bridge. I had reached out to the engineering firm that does the review for our bridge, and they had come out and done the site inspection, and I talked to the actual engineer that comes out and meets with us, and he provided us good news that all the work that we did on the bridge is gonna bump us up in the rating department, so we're either gonna hold fast or upgrade our rating.
From like 20 to 25?
Based off of what.
Yeah, pretty good investment. Good. So all we're counting on is that the last 3 to 4 more years until,
He said that
They
it
would
would last 5 to 10.
oh, so, yeah, delayed funding for our new bridge, yeah, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Good effort, good job.
Yeah, a question on, you talked about the debris up against the guardrail and stuff across from Arbor Inn.
Not sure who's responsible.
That was gonna be my question. Who is responsible? It's on Old Turnpike Road.
Depends on if it's in the state right away.
It's underneath the guardrail, that's the state, isn't it?
Then what I suggest you do is you send a letter to PennDOT, but you copy all the others. That's what, when I was at that town hall, that's PennDOT on this track. They were not stepping terribly. We had to apply for any of their emergency permits. We're cleaning up the bridges, so the pressure Judy Schranks, so basically copying your.
That's one.
PennDOT, district, your maintenance district, and say, what bridge the diagram needs to be cleaned up immediately.
Provide photographs and
Yeah,
stuff.
photographs, SOR, everything you can.
You say copy Judy, right?
No, I'm saying the local, when I was at this town
Oh, okay.
meeting, that's where I got the information that Derek just spoke about, USDA, which I thought was perfect for them, so I'm so glad to hear.
Is that gonna cause issues if the debris still there and the snow comes and it hits that instead of going through? Or are we gonna have other issues where we have to pay for it if it snows? What I'm leading to, is it gonna take 4 hours for you and the rest of the road crew to go pick that stuff up?
It'll take longer for us to do it
Yeah,
than it would.
like a day?
Give or take. I'm not sure how much. I haven't really looked how much stuff.
Yeah.
I know.
It's actually on both sides. So-
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I'm just trying to-
it's on the one side.
I'm just trying to gauge if if PennDOT doesn't respond within 30 days, should we just go ahead and do it and then try to fight PennDOT for reimbursement?
Maybe until now.
I know, but I know.
So we'll figure it out again.
But that answer, but that's only, is it gonna cause us issues? We're trying to plow, we're not plowing the snow, but whoever PennDOT uses to plow the snow.
I
Is
think
that gonna cause issues where it piles up against there because it's not gonna go through?
I'll say what will end up happening is we probably be able to put the snow effectively off the curb there, get it pushed in. So there is some, I mean, it doesn't look terrible too, so there's a little bit of a light issue.
Yeah.
We need to be able to come back and do something like that.
Thing that.
But you know.
We'll hang loose where we need them. Okay, what else? Sorry,
That's it for my report, everything else is.
Good job.
yeah. We don't need any salt this year because we have all our salt from last year.
We have over 60, no, yeah, 75 tons on. Today. We're gonna start the season.
So in other words, bring it on.
Salt for everybody.
Finance, 1.6 real estate taxes uncollected, which equates to $8,328.60. So as of August 23rd, abstract taxable property assessed at 76,000. What does abstract taxable property mean?
That is the abstract is what they call the document that they create that tells you what is taxable, what is non-taxable, what is utility taxable, what's farm.
Is that one piece of property? Or is
No,
that-
that is the borough of St. Lawrence.
all our stuff is only at that?
Our total assessed value for tax purposes
Is 76 million.
76,881,800 and
Powerball went to buy something.
that, yes, that is without
Without what?
all of whatever they're gonna give anybody who goes and asks them to reduce. Goodwill has gone to ask to have their assessment reduced.
No, I think, do we need to talk about that, council? Because typically, we're not always on board with reductions.
We don't even bother because the county
The
and
county's gonna,
the county and the school argue it.
Right, generally, and we receive the benefit of it, it's.
Okay.
And sorry, John, but we don't have the expensive.
what's the next step to get the $8,200 up per month collected? Do we file lien or do we wait out? Not yet, okay.
Wait, with end of the year, we'll know what it is turned over.
We'll probably get at least a few $4,000.
Budgets, you want to talk about having budget meetings in November?
We already advertised.
Okay,
The advertised tomorrow.
It is.
gotcha.
At 9 AM or 9:30.
November 6th at 9.
30.
Got it.
9:30, here at the Borough Hall.
Okay, committee reports, library, nothing new to report except that they don't like our proposed representative, and I will reach out to the new library director stating I don't see the conflict. So, municipal lands, anything? Recreation, no report. Planning commission, nothing. Zoning hearing board, no report. Any general comments about anything? Public meetings announcements, borough office closed November 7th, 10th, 23rd, 24th. You guys gonna work on all November?
I can't help it.
You could work for free. Budget on November 6th at 9:30, and council meeting November 9th at 7:30 with a potential conditional use hearing at 7:30. So, on the order of new business, is there any old business to discuss?
We couldn't make it, man.
Okay. New business, so there's a motion to make these following contributions. So right now, the library is at $5 a person, which gets them funding from other sources, so that's like $94.60. We're offering Berks County Conservation up from $250 from last year to $500. That may be worthwhile if we want the USGA grants. Berks County Solid Waste Authority, $500 from the previous $250. Remember, we got a nice big truck out of them. Yeah, one time. And Crime Alert Berks, $500 from $250, only because crime's down, so. What's that dog's name?
Take a bite out of crime. I'll make a motion to make the 2023 contributions as outlined in the minutes or the agenda.
Motion been moved and seconded to make the a motion for the contributions as noted in the agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion passes. So if there's no, we don't need to talk about code enforcement tonight per se. There's no other issue or anything on the agenda. Is there any other topics? Are we going to talk about the building? Oh, yeah. Mike, you want to talk about the garage, public works garage? Can you do that in public? What do you want to do? It's been in public. Yeah.
It's a public meeting.
Warren and I went to Mount Penn, I guess it was a budget or finance meeting
Workshop.
a couple weeks ago. Dave was going to attend, but he had a fight with drum corps going on in his head, so he opted to sit it out. We do have an upcoming meeting on Monday at 7 p.m. here with their 3 representatives. Just to start the talking points. In the last month, I've become a lot more optimistic about the where than I was back then. Looking at Lynn Avenue, I went down there, I kind of walked it a little bit, and it's not my favorable location. Went over to Avema, Park, walked it a little bit. I talked to Ray. Warren and I both talked to Dave Okonski. Pretty good conversation. I've had a couple small conversations with him since then, just general stuff, nothing definitive. And if we can start the legal communication, and if we can climb that hill and get that done to everybody's liking, I don't think it's a bad deal.
Yep, I've made a note to call Mount Penn solicitor to get those talks beginning.
So,
I did talk to Shirk today
yeah,
to make sure the quotes are still valid. They are.
once again, I have some issues with the quotes, because I don't think it's right. for
Again,
loading
but
funding.
at least we have a baseline to go by.
But what we really need to know is, like, if it gets ordered on January 10th, could it be delivered? Does the steel get bought and it gets held up at the factory until we can get it delivered? That's what I'd like to know, because I fear the longer we wait, the more the price goes up.
Yeah.
And we're gonna lose footage if we don't.
I spoke to, look at his name, I spoke to Linus this afternoon, Linus Jerk. And he said, you're good for a year.
Oh, good.
So I told him we're at a point where probably next few months, we'll be taking some action. They did give me some of the additional quotes for stuff that is not in the contract. Some stuff we're gonna have to go over. I'm not big on hiring out of county contractors if we don't have to. Typically cost you more money. Plus, we need additional quotes.
Can we just go through, CoStar?
These are,
One of them is, some of them are below the threshold, so they don't have
Right.
those others.
again, a lot of good quality contractors, a lot closer. Shop it. Be surprised what you can find out. We talked about the site preparation.
Yeah, I'm still keen on getting some soil boring before you start putting a slab down. Is that, you
Yeah,
know?
that's gonna eat into the funds. And given the lay of the land there, I don't know if it's really necessary, because there was a building put up there just by there. Next door, Ray gave them high marks. It's kind of just like a mirror image. Next
Yeah,
door.
but is the concrete slab gonna be the same size? You know, there'll be more weight on it? You know, these are things I worry about. Yeah, I'm sure the building's not gonna go
You
anywhere.
could go from a 6-inch slab to an 8-inch slab,
Yeah,
if you had to.
and that's even more weight if the soil's not.
That's where having a legitimate contractor, if they do a cut and fill or whatever they do, at least it's done properly. All the site engineering should take place ahead of time.
What was our cost for get geotechnical? $6,000, $8,000?
It was 6,000 per quarry.
Per what? Per core?
Location.
Okay, yeah, so we're talking about spending $6,000 to get that off the table. Right? Can we get like a one-page access agreement with Ava that says, we're not gonna throw you guys off if you do a boring? Can we get that like in the next week, and then have the soil borings go out sometime? I'd like to at least show some progress. Because
Get it going.
yeah, so, you know, so get the date, you can, Pam, and tell Joan, this is the date, we have to have something signed by then, that we're not on the property business.
All right, yeah, well, we're representing, so we should.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then we'll work out the long-term thing, long-term.
Again, our meeting at Mount Penn was basically a commitment to,
So when you guys have your meeting, a couple of things you need to talk about too is, you know, I don't know what they spec out for electrical service, but I think you're gonna need 3-phase, 208 3-phase, probably 800 amps or so. Because in 30 years, probably everything's gonna be electric, and you're gonna have big
But
charges.
that's also something you could add after you get the building up, a
Right,
couple of years from now, and it wouldn't be that much more money.
but the cables and everything change, you know.
But, you know,
Okay.
it may be, there are a lot of things you might want right
I
now.
don't know if we need to build that far out. given.
Yeah, I'm looking at, you wanna build a 30-year, I asked that you guys wanna look, say we wanna build it with the money we got, but I understand.
Well, again, if we can plot a course to, with the money we have on hand. And looking at some of these, budget numbers, if you wanna call them that, and, anything else that we may wanna lump into this. With the possibility of going back to Harrisburg and Mr. Rosman say, you know, can we get X amount of dollars on top of, just to get to the need part, not the want.
We have to
Wind load,
stay
snow load,
within the budget category and the dollar amounts that were submitted with you.
and what is that?
I'll have to get it for you.
Well, we can see that, we just can't apply for it. We'd have to pick out our own pocket.
Well, you can't shuffle the
No, no.
categories.
No, but you know, we could say, this is how much the grant's paying for, we get to pick up the rest of our own pocket. I don't think there's any prohibition against that, but then we should have some agreement with Mount Penn if that comes that way, which is another thing we need to do. You know, we can get it all ready to build, and then the big question is, 3 years from now, if something happens and they don't pay the monthly fee, are we kicking them out? You know, that's my big question. You know,
Well, and exactly, we had some discussion with them.
Yeah.
At the time, that there's some long-term commitment in the legal agreements.
There would be, and there would also be default remedies.
Right.
what would be the default remedy?
Well, it's-
Remedies for default, I mean,
Do-
you can't, you can take them to court, you can get an action, you know, you.
Why don't we write that up front of the agreement? If
Well,
there's a default after X amount of months, that this happens, is that, or am I being too heavy handed already? You think that's gonna make them skyrocket?
But if they have no money, they have no money.
I understand, that's why I'm saying, you
And
know,
the same would apply to us, correct?
right, same thing with apply to us, yeah.
So it is a two-sided agreement,
You know,
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
but-
I mean, it would have to be kind of mirror image. that.
so it's not like it's, you know, it's our grant, it's our building.
well, technically,
It's our way.
it's gonna be on our insurance, it's gonna be on our, you know, so in the real world, it's ours. So if somebody gets hurt down there, it's gonna be on us,
And
so those are the things I worry about.
is there any possible way that they can carry some of the, financial load of that building on their insurance? Because they're occupied.
They would have it where first, so, yes.
That like
So
insurance.
we could share that cost, but correct?
Right, a lot of these costs could be shared, almost any cost could be shared. Workers' comp.
Well, you know,
Well, workers' comp would be, workers' comp would be their employees because of their workers' comp.
but are we talking about their assets in the building, like trucks and stuff like that? Or are we talking insurance on the building like wind damage? And then suddenly both parties have to apply to their own separate policies to get
Well,
paid
no,
to
there
cover it?
would be a contribution towards the cost, I mean, there's
Right.
anything on the building, but as far as on content of the building, if it's their if something is their.
Right,
content,
it's on
they
them.
can insure that.
Right.
That would be their separate insurable.
There was any, a dollar amount sort of thrown around, because I know back of the envelope, I was like 2,000 to 3,000 a month. Is that gonna be a choking point?
I don't know if I got that far. I don't know if
Yeah,
I-
we didn't get down to a dollar amount, but that when we talked about sharing expenses and sharing all the costs, there was no.
Yeah,
question.
but I get the impression that they have X amount of costs right now, but they're not writing a $3,000 check to somebody for those costs, right? So that's, you know, suddenly you own a home somewhere, now you're a renter, you know? I like to bring up the bad stuff first, because at least it gets it on the table.
Well, I'd like to have actual numbers to present.
Yeah, right, well,
Yeah.
well, we estimate the cost of the utilities and operating costs.
Yeah.
Percentage of share of the insurance.
Well, yeah, that'd be covered like in the rent, you know, so. And is that an issue? Do they want somehow to be a co-owner?
Hmm.
Don't know?
Yeah, I mean, that's something, those are questions that could be asked.
Yeah,
I think Monday's meeting is more focused on what the building will look like.
Kind of, meet and greet, get to know.
Right, and, yeah, and the cost sharing is, the heart of the agreement is the cost sharing.
Yeah.
well, the buildings are gonna look this big or smaller. So, you know, it's only going one way, that's an easy discussion. So how small is, it becomes, you know, heartburn.
I think we have two good options. When you look at some of these additional numbers, looking at the money on hand, that's where we need to get it a bit more to the point, so.
Like sharpen pencils on the budget on estimates.
Whether it's insurance, utilities, stuff like that, so. All those contributions aside from the initial cost and the potential of going back to Harrisburg or Mr. Rodney and saying, hey, can we get X amount of dollars? Not talking a lot here. It's with what you're looking at here. I don't know if you're gonna save a whole lot of money, but you get close.
So on your agenda money meeting, can you at least try to talk like that and we can, you know, start with those two numbers and then try to refine from there? And is there a tripwire where, you know, if suddenly comes $4,000 a month, you know, that goes poof.
Before I would quote a number, I'd like to really have something.
Yeah. Well, Monday,
Well, you're gonna get down to two-sided buildings.
these issues. Right now,
Yeah.
we're gonna look at what is gonna.
Well, if you guys can square down to like, it's either gonna be this big or smaller or something, then we can go get pricing, but it's tough to get numbers from people when they're not gonna get business. I mean, you know that, Mike.
I think
People call all the time.
60 by 80 would probably be, number wise, looking at what I see here, without farming it out for other quotes, probably helps us, that $20,000 difference, between the two sides quotes, helps us, but when you add on everything else, you're tempting the $400,000 mark. So, I think that's a pretty honest statement. And again, I'd like to know what the additional insurance is gonna cost. It's hard to gauge utilities for the building. What do you base it on? You know,
Yeah, we were talking like no air conditioning.
Yeah, that's very typical for a maintenance building.
Yeah.
But you have to have lighting, it's not gonna be LED lighting. If you have skylights, especially, yeah,
LED lighting, which,
yeah.
you have skylights, but then you have the expense of putting in the skylights, plus the risk of leaks.
And it's just usually a colored panel instead of metal.
Transmission panel, but still.
Yeah.
A couple additions to the design that Bob spoke about, the snow and wind load and stuff like that. If you'd ever want to put solar panels, I mean, the trees to the south are gonna probably get in the way of that, but they talked about taking them down. I don't know if they went and did that under the current.
AIMA's gonna let them cut down all those trees?
Again, it's all tentative stuff,
Yeah.
but
Trees
I don't think you could carry solar panels with the existing snow load that would be tied to that building. Again, I don't know if we need to think it out that far.
Yeah, but if you're gonna build something for 30 years, you sort of need to bring these topics up. And you can't do that with a person that opens their wallet and the moths are flying in there. And that's my impression. You know,
There's also a cap number that we have to keep our eye on too.
Right.
But I think we have all the pieces there to at least, start, hatching it out a little bit. But again, we can float a couple numbers without knowing anything.
Well, we had looked at it in reverse before we got the money, and we knew it was gonna be probably about, we were just roughing the envelope, and we looked at it was gonna be like 3 to 4. So that's why I keep hanging on that number, but you're right, I don't know.
That's a shared number, right?
No, that was gonna be our contribution on a monthly basis.
And there's also.
Well, we didn't know what they were gonna contribute.
Their share of what they were gonna owe, right, Allison?
Yeah,
Somewhere in that, and
if we owed them, it would be, we're doing 3 and 4, so it's vice versa too. Based on that 400, based on some of the stuff we can. But once again, this is not hard estimates, because
No.
it's very tough to get hard numbers when you don't have a physical building sitting there.
So we're testing for heartburn, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Boundaries. Don't instead of hardware, just say balance.
we're not trying,
Not heartburn.
we're not trying to make money off of them, but we wanna make sure that we cover their share of the expenses.
And then
of the bill.
Yeah.
We won't know what the insurance is until we get final idea of what's going in, what all. What everything's gonna be, it's, I can ask the insurance company, but until we.
If you could set it on two sizes, we'd have a better idea to go ask the insurance company. But then there's the ancillary stuff, like you're gonna have to have a break room, similar, you know, you're gonna have to, have they all figured that in, you know? Shower, bathroom stalls, all that stuff, you know, is that all still conceptual, or is that in the money?
There was discussion about it.
There are some.
Cause that's extra money, how's it gonna get furnished?
There's,
That's another grant from Rossi?
there's discussion of it.
No, there are some.
You're being
quotes in there
coy.
for some plumbing,
Now the heartburn's coming back on me, cause you guys know we're having discussions on it.
doesn't really, do we need really a break room or a nice little table with some chairs back there?
You
You
need,
could put a petition up, I mean, how hard is it to put it, you know?
so there's gonna be half the size with a position out of it.
Half the size of this?
I'm trying to understand, what do you?
For a garage like that, I wouldn't expect it to be more than the size of like a one-car garage or something where you have a basket.
To Mount credit, at our little meet and greet outside, there are some of these things that after the building's up and occupied that, you know, collectively, our employees can do together.
I understand.
And that's a great thing, that's a money saver. And,
I'm just looking in general, you should have like a small office with a file cabinet to keep stuff in on vehicles or equipment. You know, you almost have to have a break room, a refrigerator, you know, stuff like that, a table,
Which
chairs.
putting, yeah,
So is there a budget for flushing it all out? You know, and I said, I can't imagine you can have this building without being able to inflate a tire. You know, are you gonna have an air compressor in there?
sure you could have an air compressor.
isn't that one of these books?
Yeah, I could have an air compressor.
We have just a 20-gallon tow behind air compressor. They have air compressors, so.
Yeah, you've got air compressors, you put them in.
Oh, you're not gonna get a big 80-gallon tank air compressor?
It's nothing to sit an 80-gallon tank in there, plumbing in, put a couple pull downs.
I agree, but that's what I'm asking. Because I see a 30-year building that we should build right. But I hear, well, we can't have that because we're running out of money because the building's too big. Or the building's gonna cost more because of a certain size.
And
So I'm worried that we're building, you know, all hat, no cattle.
it'll be the first time.
Sorry.
That's my belief. And moving forward, you know, if some of these things, if they're willing, and I believe they are, to do some of this stuff in-house. That's everybody's benefit. It doesn't mean you can't put it on the design, and of course, by others, us and them. I think it's a great thing, you know,
Yeah.
you could throw an 80-gallon compressor up there, pipe it in, and 2 pull downs for under $1,000.
I know.
Pay somebody to do that,
Right.
and it's 3 or 4 or 5
You don't need it.
I'm just talking furnishing. I would never talk about labor. You know. Just ask it.
I'd go with the first one before I pay somebody to do it.
Huh? So, how about it, guys?
Alright,
Yeah, sure.
so anybody else want to be involved Monday? You and I would be there.
Dave will be here. We moved the time because he works till 7.
Okay,
So
so,
when he gets here, it'll be 7:15.
yeah, okay, I thought that was,
And Dave Okonski knows that.
And I'll contact.
Do not leave here before I leave.
And talk to David Solicitor.
Pamela, please try to get a date that the driller can be out there, so they can tell them Monday, hey, the guy's gonna have to do the store board.
Yeah, I'll in the next couple of weeks, Dave.
Yeah, no, can you get a date to give them so they can at least say that on Monday at the meeting? On such and such date, yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Has anybody ever from Avon or a responsible party went over and said, and delineate, this is where the parcel is? We know where it's going to be, to the west side of Central Berks' building.
Yeah.
What's the?
Where's the boundaries, where's the setbacks?
What's the boundary, where you're going?
We found that, so there's a sewer manhole back there, so that's the most extent, so that's the right of way from the road there.
Spacing between the buildings, we got a couple big trees up there getting toward that point when you get to the.
Well, we had met, this is back preliminary before we applied for the grant, but we had preliminarily met with Exeter zoning and code enforcement guy.
Which one?
What is it?
Probably not there anymore.
Great Valley.
Yeah, it's,
Terry.
Terry, yeah, no.
Right.
So we met with him, we talked everything over, he seemed pretty,
Yeah.
I mean, we lined up everything of where it was, we can be as close to Central Berkeley building if we want to, there's no setback for that. we were cognizant of the trees there, so we tried to stay away from the sycamores.
Right.
So we did have flags out there to kind of,
Okay,
and that was on the old 100 by 60. So now we'll have at least 12 by 12 more feet. At the 88.
yes. So we have enough to say.
We could put the 100 by 60 in there. Now,
Okay.
more.
So you think you could fit 100 by 60, but now we're talking 88 by 60 because of dollars?
The two proposals are for an 88 and an 80 by 60.
Gotcha.
Difference is about $18,000.
Yeah.
Floor drains,
Yes,
oil water separator,
yes, all in addition to the contract.
and do you think it'd be better just have DC do everything, let them sub out to the building guy?
No, because they're gonna pay more money for the building.
I was already told by the shirt for the concrete, if we could find cheaper for the concrete, we found a concrete contractor. We would do better than he can provide through CoStar, because he has to pay us to do the concrete work.
And he's gonna want to make money off of it too.
Correct, and the only problem is,
So we can find a CoStar concrete person.
No, not interested. Way too much going on.
I think just for terms of kicking numbers around, while I was going to a CoStar guy, at least that has a baseline, you know.
that's so, Landis Mechanicals in there for all the plumbing and stuff, that's our baseline CoStar. So that's no bid, we can go with that, no questions asked, and then there's other stuff below the threshold for bid. And then if you said there's contractors even closer that can even beat those prices,
Again, I gotta make sure the coats are, so.
well, as long as they're below 25, I don't know what the numbers off the top, 20.
25 is, it's around, well, 25 is, right, 25 is prevailing wage threshold.
22-1.
But yeah, it's on an escalator every year. It is around 22,000.
Have fun, you guys.
And if we allocate the phases, come on. Help a brother out with this.
Although, John, you may have to, because I know someone talked to me about this, you're allowed to pick out to like electrical, that's a category.
That is, right, under the separation tax, there are separate bids for electric, HVAC, and plumbing.
Can you separate the plumbing, bathroom versus floor drain?
No, that's all gonna be plenty.
Yeah,
All that stuff together.
you can't split that stuff up with, to evade the competitive bidding. The Borough code specifically says it.
I think that still came in under the 23 for running the wetlands.
Make some call. Yeah, we're gonna have that on Monday night.
I guess the other thing, Warren, is that we're gonna be making decisions and authorizing stuff to try to move it forward. Are they gonna be on board to reimburse, or that's become part of the big number? That's the other thing I worry about. Yeah,
the other part reimbursement for actually building it and stuff.
no, I'm talking about, we were gonna spend $6,000 for do geotechnical. They're gonna say, well, we really don't need that. I go, well,
Yeah, we do.
yeah, we do. So now you owe us $3,000 when you pay it.
For integrity purposes, we need it.
So that's a discussion that, you know, I think they be going down a little bit more too, so.
And they could say, well, Central Berks into it, but
That doesn't make any difference. Pamela, would you put a building up without geotechnical?
It's-
You can buy, we're not gonna do this. Obviously, you can't. Yeah, and we're going to Harlan's went down to limestone cake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have enough to start moving forward.
Then there's a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
Oh,
Second, motion moved to second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, motion passes. Go forward, get a good building. Yeah. No,
You're right there.
no, I'm thinking of showering by at Lowe's where it's a 3 fan, but it sits there. Yeah.